Hi, my name is Mohammad, and we examined a novel negative affect induction task for its use in acute drug effects research. Currently, negative affect, including anxiety and depression, affect over a quarter of the US population. Despite being so common, there really is no quick and easy way to measure negative affect. Most of our current methods include either really lengthy trainings, such as using skin conductance, or are not very portable, such as fMRI. As a result, we wanted to explore the efficiency of this novel task, which induces a negative affect and recovers participants through a breathing exercise. This study was part of a larger IRB-approved study in which we focused on collecting demographics, and which you can see in Table 1. We also collected depression, anxiety, and stress scale, or DAS scores, and cannabis smoking frequency in a cannabis-using population, in addition to the negative affect induction task's outcome. In the negative affect induction task, or NAIT, the research assistant or RA asked the participant to rate how they're currently feeling using a visual analog scale, with negative 50 being the worst they've ever felt and positive 50 being the best they've ever felt. And then the research assistant measures the participant's heart rate. As a note, the self-reported affect scores have been translated to 0 to 100 to make the data easier to handle. The participant is then instructed to think of a past stressful event like a movie and bring up all the thoughts, feelings, and associations with the event, and to think about it until they reach the most stressful part or until 3 minutes have elapsed. Then at this point, at this post-rumination time point, the participant again rates how they're currently feeling, and the research assistant measures the participant's heart rate. Lastly, the participant is instructed to follow a mindful breathing exercise for 3 minutes, in which they only focus on the sensation of breath entering and leaving their body. Then at that post-breathing time point, the participant rates how they feel, and the research assistant measures the heart rate. Moving on to the results, in figure 3, we can see that after the rumination, participants' affect scores drop from their baseline score, and then they recover back to those baseline levels at that post-breathing time point. In figure 4, we see something similar as heart rate increases after the rumination, but instead of returning back down to those baseline levels after the breathing, the heart rate stays elevated at that post-rumination level. To further explore this task, we wanted to see if participants' performance on the task changed based on their depression levels. And so we categorized participants into groups based off their score on the depression subscale of the DAS, or referred to as DDAS here. And through a correlation, we saw that affect scores decreased at each time point as DDAS score increased. And then when we classified participants into those groups, we saw something similar in the non-clinical group. They had higher affect scores than almost every group at baseline and post-rumination, but at that post-breathing time point, we saw that the non-clinical group only had higher affect scores than the extremely severe group. And then to see if any of the DDAS groups differed in any other characteristics, we looked at cannabis smoking frequency between the groups and saw that the groups did not differ in the number of times they used cannabis within 1 month. Overall, we can see that the novel task is successful in inducing a rumination, and that affect scores decrease and heart rate increases. We also see that the breathing exercise is very helpful in recovering participants, at least mentally, back to those baseline levels. With the addition of the DAS, we see that the NAIT is able to detect gross differences between negative affect and depression levels. And we also see the task does not have a profound effect in the non-clinical group. With the DDAS groups, we see that the cannabis smoking frequency does not track necessarily with the depression levels. And then also with these results, it appears that the NAIT, or the task, is a valid measure, and we'll look in the future to use it in a mobile setting with cannabis use. Thank you for listening, and I hope I can answer any questions you may have. Thank you.